Since the 1600s, for 300 years, the Principality of New Antioch has stood defiant as the focal point of the Church and the faithful. It stands at the very edge of the shadow cast by the gate of hell. It is home to all of our hopes, the bulwark against heretic forces and the first line of defense against the devil's might. Should New Antioch fall, all of the Levant will be lost. The original city of Antioch was destroyed by a demonic weapon in the year 1545. Still, the faithful never gave up their positions in its ruins. Despite the lethal demonic essence emanating from the crater that was left behind, the garrison held on. Due to its necessity in the defense against hell, it's no wonder that in the year 1559 the Sword Congress of Vienna agreed to rebuild and fortify the city, and that a yearly tithe be sent to New Antioch by all faithful nations, though this levy is rarely in the form of coin. Instead, an endless supply of materials, munitions, machines, and meat come from Europa and the Mediterranean Sea and the African dominions. Keeping the supply routes open is a constant game of cat and rat. Heretic raiders harry the caravans and ships that allow the principality to exist. Yet against all odds, New Antioch has grown to be the most important fortress city in the world. It is the sword and it is the shield of Europa and Africa. New Antioch has withstood 8 great sieges. Their famed walls with their 77 mighty towers have never been breached. This is partly due to the hundreds of anchorites, metallic battle shrines with the devoted entombed within them. They are then embedded in the walls. In their sacrifice, they keep a vigilant watch. More than anything else, it is the volunteers who come to serve under the banner of Christ that ensures the continuous existence of the principality. In the streets of New Antioch, one can hear hundreds of languages and thousands of dialects. One might observe the hussars of the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth brushing shoulders with the last remnants of the Varangian Guard. Or one might hear the sermons of a street preacher from Era extolling the soldiery of Ethiopia to lay down their lives for the cause. Perhaps you may even witness the church engineers' procession, taking their latest invention to be tested on the front lines. All of this happens under the watchful eyes of the Office of the Propagation of Virtue. While they are quite happy to turn a blind eye to the revelries of soldiers, they viciously persecute anyone who betrays church doctrine. The execution of heretics is a daily occurrence, which draws the attraction of immense crowds. Factories spew black smoke as tanks roll out of workshops. Foundries burn white-hot day and night, all in order to keep the artillery battalions, the pride and joy of New Antioch, at full strength. In the techno-laboratories of the city, the church toils away in creating the superhuman communicants, who are empowered by the very cloned flesh and blood of the Redeemer himself. Thousands are worked to death or give their lives in horrific accidents each year. Great statues celebrating their sacrifices stand proud amongst the city. Despite all these preparations, it is a grim reality that New Antioch could never withstand the full onslaught of the combined forces of hell. It is only thanks to the ferocious and bloody internal conflict amongst the devils that has allowed the principality to stand to this day. Only rarely does one of them gain supremacy for long enough to mount a full-scale invasion. Even though the war has stretched on for centuries, with decades of terrifying lulls punctuated by terrifying battles. The rulers of hell are immortal. To them, the war has barely begun. They are beings who have existed before there was time. They wish to savor the agony of each and every one of us mortals who die in our millions. So, the Great War rages on.